You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to what is by far, what I feel, is going to be the most exciting conversation of the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast we've had so far this year, because we are going to talk about what is, and fight me, because I don't care, probably 99% sure, the best wrestling pay-per-view of the year. There's no time for stupid, frilly intros. We have a lot to speak about. Ransom the Mad King is here, along with Hoot the Bard Bebe, who is not AEW bound, sadly enough, but he is on the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast. And, you know, while that gives him less publicity and notoriety and money than being in AEW, I appreciate him being here more. Aww. And also we have one half, allegedly, of the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions, Beef the Legend. The other half of the Tag Team Champions, allegedly Tiger Bomb Tom, will be joining us later. We have to talk about All Out, which is undoubtedly the most exciting wrestling pay-per-view that I can remember maybe ever watching. It is certainly better than anything I have seen WWE-wise.
Yeah.
For I have no idea how long. We had Ruby Soho debut. We had Adam Cole debut. We had Bryan Danielson debut. This pay-per-view was enough to put Paul Levesque into cardiac arrest. I don't know how AEW tops this event. This was the Mount Rushmore of pay-per-views.
Oh.
Boys, be more eloquent than me, because words fail me at this point on how good this pay-per-view was.
I got to tell you, and I'm going to let Beef go last, because I feel like that will be the most, and in true fashion, the most eloquent, and I think without snarkiness saying this, the longest-winded one. And I say that without snarkiness, because it's going to be with all due respect, because it's well deserved. So this past weekend I had other options on Sunday besides coming down and watching in person with the rest of the P3 crew et al. And watching AEW All Out. And I'll tell you what, absolutely zero regrets, because I firmly believe, and I will make this 100% statement, and I will back it up. There is nothing, as a wrestling fan, to watch Beef literally bounce in his chair at the excitement of Minoru Suzuki debuting, or at least making an appearance in AEW. There's nothing like sitting and being engaged the whole time in an event, match after match after match. Belch. And I pulled a little ransom there. And then I can safely say, when there's nothing better than witnessing wrestling history. And that's not saying like earth-shattering, destroying, blah, blah, blah. It's saying this moment, this pay-per-view, I firmly believe in the annals of wrestling history will be spoken of in high regard as a masterstroke, a turning point, a keynote moment for AEW and the wrestling world.
You guys have said it way better than I'm probably going to, but I will make a shot. And also, Poot, with all due respect, that comment is not worth a velvet painting of a dolphin humping a whale.
Oh, there's nothing worth that, man.
All right, so I believe that you are 100% correct, Chuck. Poot, damn it, Fuck.
Wow, a kayfabe break. That's how excited he
Haven't
is.
had one of those in a while.
Damn.
I am having some Oktoberfest, which I find I don't enjoy quite as much as the Sam Adams pumpkin beer.
That's not as
that
pumpkin-y,
makes me
it's
sad.
better.
It's very earthy, and I'm just not I'm not here for it. Any event, put it very, very well in saying that this is going to be an absolute keynote in wrestling history, and I don't think it's too bold to say that. So, in the past, AEW has not been around but a cup of coffee. And their marketing strategy has been, let's pump what we got into who we have. And that's great because they have some of the best wrestlers in the world. However, whenever you have names like CM Punk, who is, in a lot of people's minds, at least was at one point, the best wrestler in the world, best, wrestler, entertainer, all around guy. You add Bryan Danielson, who is legit one of the best wrestlers in the world, and Adam Cole, baby, one of the best it guys in the world. You sprinkle on top Ruby Soho, and you give her a chance to flourish. You throw in a surprise appearance by Minoru Suzuki. You give the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros time to actually put together a wonderful, amazing match. There is not anything bad that anybody can say about this pay-per-view. I had my doubts with Moxley and oh god,
General So.
Nope.
Dang.
Damn it, Ransom. I had my doubts with that match. Kojima, my god. With that match. Nope. With that match following the barn burner of Miro versus Eddie Kingston. I'm like, why would you put two big beefy guy heavy hitter matches together? But it really worked. The women's matches were great. Again, the tag team match was spectacular. The main event was exactly what you needed it to be. The women's title match was good. There wasn't a down point in the pay-per-view. The only part that one could argue would be the Paul White, not Big Show, JR. The Paul White versus QT Marshall match, which was passable for a Paul White match.
But you know what? I want to interject real quick. I think what they did well there, though, it didn't drag.
100%.
It was exactly what it needed to be.
Yep.
Quick, to the point, didn't drag anything out, didn't slow down the night. With that going to be the least exciting match of the card, they did what they needed to do. Get out there, get it done, get back.
Yep, and it was an excellent palate cleanser as well. So there was really a lot great about the event, and yeah, I mean, I think that we look back at this event in 5 years, and we say this is the night that AEW said we're coming for you. They have made a point of always saying, "Hey, we're not in competition. That's not our jive. We are here to be another option." They're offering, a pork chop compared to a steak. This is the night that I think that they're like, you know what? Let's try and fire up a steak on the grill and see what happens. This is nothing less than a shot across the bow of WWE saying, look, we have the people that you couldn't or that you refused to work with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And look what we're about to do.
And the thing is, immediately watching, I perused my way through Dynamite, seeing they're putting Ruby Soho immediately up there with Britt Baker.
Yep.
Smart. They're putting Daniel Bryan I did it. Brian, they're putting the American Dragon, which, by the way, on the screens, so good. They're putting the American. They're putting Amdrag, Bryan Danielson up against Kenny Omega. They're making Adam Cole immediately a likable dickhead. Like they're CM Punk. Yeah, they're kind of like and they're doing exactly with him what we kind of predicted. He's taking, the Taz's little, the little group. He's taking them and he's going to elevate them. He's going to make them look good. He's going to do, I think CM Punk, of this whole swath of talent that's come in, is going to be the one to really foster that attitude or foster the younger talent and foster the fact that, like, hey, even though I'm a veteran at this point, I'm going to make you look good. He'll have his wins, he'll have his losses, but he's going to do it. And, it's incredible. It's incredible.
I'll throw you a little tease for our second show this week. When I say, that's right, fans, we have 2 shows for you this week, and we'll be moving forward with that format so that you can get twice as much Pittsburgh Pile Driver podcast in your ear holes. I'll throw you a little teaser. I think that Ricky Starks is going to be the guy that beats Punk, the first guy who beats Punk, with good fucking reason.
Agreed.
But we'll get into that. So All Out 100% had a big fight feel to it. Every match felt like, all right, this match is the most important match on the card. Every single match made you feel like, okay, I need to be invested in this match. Excuse me. Whether it was waiting for a debut, like in the Women's Battle Royal, whether it was seeing 2 great women wrestlers face off in Chris Statlander and Britt Baker, whatever tag team action or the main event, and New Japan love with Kojima and Moxley, whatever your flavor, they made every single match feel like this is the one you gotta see. But I gotta hear from your faces, and I'm not talking about debuts. We'll get to that. What match on the card made you sit up and take notice that this was going to be a banger of an event?
Oh, my God. Oh, you Ransom, you go ahead.
Okay. Can I interject 2 things real quick before I answer your question, Beef?
No.
You want me to answer your question first?
Yes.
I don't want to derail Beef's point. That's the thing.
No, you go right ahead. You interject away, buddy.
Okay. So real quick, I'm not going to belabor on this. I want to get to Beef's question, but 2 things that I feel like AEW does extremely well is, A, they don't treat the fans like idiots. Now, I'm not going to say that other promotions treat fans like idiots, but I think we all know that some promotions treat fans like idiots. And what I mean by that is they didn't have, quote unquote, multiple main events. They had matches, and then they had the main event. But the thing is with these AEW matches is that they didn't have to pump them up with lip service like, this is one of our 3 main events, to make the match feel big and make it feel important. These matches all felt big and important without AEW having to treat you like you're a moron, saying, hey, pay attention, this is a big deal match. We're going to call it one of our 3 main events. I don't like it when promotions do that. Stop it. There's one main event. Make it be your main event. If you can't put on matches that are important to fans without calling them one of your 3 main events, you're doing it wrong. Also, AEW doesn't try to pull the wool over your eyes. They put things right out there in front of you, but they do it knowing full well you're going to be so excited, you're going to overlook very small, intimate details. And what I mean by that is when Adam Cole debuted, everyone was so excited about his debut. Everyone lost their minds and was so pumped up, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, Adam Cole is here. Not one of us in that room watching that pay-per-view stopped and said, whoa, guys, he just came out of the heel entrance. None of us realized that. I don't know how many people watching at home or in person was like, oh, wait a minute. He came out the heel side. What's going on here? We were all so excited about the fact that he debuted that we completely missed that. And that's one of those things where AEW doesn't try to fool you. They laid it right out. They let him come walking right out of the heel entrance ramp, didn't disguise it whatsoever. And everyone was still cheering and being insanely excited to see him. And that's just one of the things that I love about AEW is they don't treat you like a moron. If you're going to catch somebody coming out the heel entrance, then you're going to catch it. If not, they're going to count on you being so excited about this debut that they're going to let it happen. They're going to let him come out that heel entrance ramp and let it be. But in any case, those are the two things that I really appreciate, especially about this pay-per-view, what AEW was doing. And as far as
to jump in really quick, Ransom. Yeah. Literally, when I left Beef's abode, I hopped in the car, and immediately when I got to the gas station and gassed up, and I immediately opened up my phone and typed in Adam Cole debut AEW, because two things. Number one, I wanted to hear his song again. Number two, Adam Cole has become one of my favorite wrestlers. I was even wearing his Slave Company shirt for the event, because I had bet my money on Amdrag debuting, but when Adam Cole's music hit, I was the one. I think you guys would agree. I was the one who popped the hardest.
Oh my, yeah.
I was so excited and so happy that happened. But I looked at the thing before it got pulled off of YouTube, and I was sitting there and I was watching it, and I was like, oh, he came out of the heel entrance. And I was like, how did we miss that shit?
We were all so excited. And they didn't try to fool us and have him come out of the face entrance and then do a heel turn.
Nope.
They laid it right out, knowing full well, this dude's going to be a heel. We're sending him out the heel entrance. Guess what? People are going to be so excited that they're going to overlook that. We're not going to try to hide it from them. We're not going to treat them like fools. We're going to lay it right out and trust that what we're booking and what we're producing is going to give us the result that we want.
And
they don't try to force it on you like someone else.
And that's beautiful. But anyway, Ransom, go ahead. What match is the one that really made you go, oh, damn, this is going to be good?
That is by far and away the tag team championship match. That was one of the most exciting matches I can remember seeing in good Lord, a very, very long time. The spots that they did, the moves that they took, I can't believe that the Jacksons were able to walk out at the end of the Kenny Omega match. I'm stunned that they were walking. Some of the moves they took is unbelievable. And I'm sorry, I really am. I don't mean to do it, but I know we rag on other promotions, one specifically, but I feel like this point is important enough to say. Wrestlers in WWE are handcuffed into performing, quote unquote, only the safe moves. You can't do a pile driver in WWE. Now, on one hand, I appreciate the fact that they're trying to protect the wrestlers. They're trying to protect their investments. And that's what they're doing. But at the same time, they're protecting the wrestlers' lives. But on the other hand, I appreciate AEW going, hey, you know what? You guys are professionals. You do this for a living. You guys discuss your match. If you want to do this move, if you want to do this spot, and you are all comfortable doing it, and you trust each other, you trust each other's skills and ability to protect each other, then go do it, man. Put on a great show. And that's what all these wrestlers in AEW do. They're not handcuffed in the moves that they can do. And if you need a point, or if you need proof of that, go watch this tag team championship match in the steel cage. Sweet Mother Hubbard. I can't believe some of the moves that these guys did, and they were able to walk away from this match. Holy crap. It was art. Yes, it's pro wrestling, and it's not sports entertainment. You know, everybody wants to say it's pro wrestling. This is pro wrestling, and AEW is pro wrestling. But this match was pro wrestling in an art form. It was a beautiful work of art, what they did. And their talent is so immense to be able to put on this type of match and not hurt each other. I could go on and on, but I'm not gonna. That was by far and away the match that made me go, oh damn, this is the show of the year.
And Beef, if I may.
Yeah, man.
First off, I'm going to give you a little bit of breaking news. Someone give me one single note of intro music. That was 3, but good job, guys. I love you.
Hey, that was for the P3, bitch.
Oh, there. You know what, you guys? See, there's those details in the P3 podcast I don't see. I'm going to have to go back and watch it.
Go back and re-listen.
So via F4W Online, okay, because this is just the you know, I found this. Apparently, the headline is AEW beats WWE Raw in the 18-49 demo this week, okay? Last night's All Out Fallout, and I quote, last night's All Out Fallout edition of AEW Dynamite averaged 1.319 million viewers on TNT, which is up 26% from the previous week. It's the second highest audience in the history of the show, trailing only the series premiere from October 2019. Now, continuing. In the 18-49 demo, Dynamite drew a 0.52 rating, up 40.5% from last week. And Dynamite beat this week's Raw in the 18-49 demo, as I said. Dynamite averaged, if you take the entire watch time, averaged 681 consistent viewers in that category, topping Raw's 678. So there you go. AEW this week beat Raw, which is, to be perfectly honest with you, not a terrible in the demo. Okay, but to be fair, that's to be fair. I've been re-binging that show. It's fantastic. Belch. But that's my point, is that, like, it's kind of obvious that they were going to do it with all the hype and buzz that was around all the debuts. You know, Ruby Soho, Minoru Suzuki, Adam Cole, D-Bry, like, or B-Dry, I guess it'd be now, Amdrag. But, like, and then having things like the tag team championships change hands. And I got to echo what Ransom said. For me, and I understand it was a little bit deep into the show, that match was everything that I wanted from a tag title loss from the Bucks that I could have possibly wanted. Not only was it a spectacle, not only did they have unique spots, not only did they have unique gimmicks, but my boys, the Lucha Bros won. And I was so over the moon happy. And I can't believe, if he does listen to this, Jimmy and Corey, Dos Hermanos Lucha, if you guys are listening to this, I apologize for not messaging you and being like, holy shit, Penta and Phoenix did it, because those guys actually know Penta and Phoenix. And, like, it was just, oh, the Cricket has joined. The Cricket is all P3. It was just, I Ransom said it all already. It was a masterwork. It was a masterclass in how to book not just a dramatic tag match, not just a dramatic tag title loss, not just a story of a team fighting, scratching, scraping, and pushing a boulder up a hill to eventually achieve their goal, but just how to do wrestling. I know that's a very broad, ridiculous statement, but it's not wrong. Like I said, I can't remember the last time that all of us were in a room watching a pay-per-view, watching it and going, oh, at spots of our own volition. You know what I mean? Like, we would sit there and analyze and go, yeah, saw that coming. Yeah, saw that coming. None of us saw a spiked Nike coming. None of us saw that. Like, and that's the thing, is that's when you let, I believe the wrestlers have creative latitude. These are the things that you get. Was it grotesque? Yeah. But all the guys in there trusted each other to do a spot like that. They trusted each other to allow for that kind of level of gimmick insanity and make it feel not silly, but brutal and fit within the dynamic of characters. It's this layer cake of wrestling awesomeness. And I understand there's going to be people who are listening to this that might be a WWE apologist and who are just like, they're just jerking off the new AEW, they're just jerking off the indie guys. Well, you know what? Suck my ass. Like, this is how you make solid, good, entertaining, fun wrestling. And not to take away from anything else on the show. Not to take away from the other matches, the other talent, the other debuts, whatever happened. But my God, it was just, I was thrilled and enthralled the entire time of that match. And to have the caveat of, even if you escape the cage, the match isn't over. We're like, well, that's kind of weird for a cage match. But it was basically to contain the insanity. And to contain them and make it feel desperate and ridiculous. Also, Matt Jackson, shame on you for dropping that bag and not catching it, because that was a throw that was on point. That's on you, buddy. I can't speak highly enough of it. I just can't. Like, that was it for me, man. What about you,
So
Beef?
I'm not gonna beleaguer the match. It was an awesome match. Short list of the matches of the year. Right now, just from memory, that's probably going to ride up in like top 2 or 3 that I can remember. I am interested to go back and watch all of them, though. So I'm going to go a different direction, because while that match was match of the night and absolutely going to be one of the matches of the year, I am going to go with Moxley versus Kojima. Now, to be fair, I was very distracted versus Miro and Eddie Kingston. I want to go back and give that match its true due. I'm going to go back and do a rewatch at some point this weekend, probably. But, like, having a Japanese legend like Kojima come over is a big deal. Should it have been Tanahashi? Probably.
Yep.
Probably. It should have been, Minoru Suzuki? Probably. But, regardless, Kojima is absolutely in New Japan royalty. He's a guy who's done it all over in Japan. And to have Moxley face him in a New Japan style match was a big deal. This is kind of what Moxley's been doing the last several months. It's kind of like wrestling that New Japan style, almost to kind of get the audience familiar with it. More on that. But that match was like hammer to nail, a great exhibition of how to wrestle that style of strong style, how to make it entertaining, and how to absolutely captivate the audience, even though they may not be familiar with the guy. More importantly, and I'm going to kind of pivot here, I think the debut of Minoru Suzuki absolutely set the tone for the rest of the night. There was, the Suzuki's going to be in town for about a month. That's been reported. He has shows booked for like New Japan Strong and other organizations. I think he's wrestling a GCW match. I'm not sure. But that was out there in the ether, but no one put 2 and 2 together and thought, oh, maybe he's going to show up at All Out. There was no buzz about that at all anywhere. And he basically came out of left field to give the fans an absolute dream. Well, if you know, again, it's predicated on you knowing New Japan and their history and who Minoru Suzuki is. But if you knew of him and you know that style, it gave the fans a dream stare down. And I think it was really intense. And then they went to blows. that told me that right there, this pay-per-view is going to be like anything else you've ever seen. And I'm going to be real, guys. I think this might be the best pay-per-view ever. Because, like, you look at other pay-per-views that had big moments. I'm talking like Hogan betraying Team WCW and joining Team NWO. That kind of thing. They typically didn't have the type of wrestling to back it up like All Out 2021 did.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 17, I think there's a strong case for that. That's when Austin turned heel and joined with Vince McMahon. That had a solid card behind it and a big game changer moment. So there is certainly that. And like I said, I'm not, WrestleMania 31, the heist of the century. Like, yes, there are other pay-per-views out there that certainly hold that certainly could hold that designation as greatest of all time. But honestly, like, this has been the best of the last decade and the best that I can remember. It's absolutely, like, just whatever you thought they couldn't top themselves, they give you something. And what do we say about AEW all the fucking time? If you're not into what you're seeing, give it 5 minutes and you'll see something new and different.
Yep.
It seemed like it was just boom on top of boom on top of boom with no, like, lapse, but also not to their,
detriment.
Not to their detriment. Thank you. They did it. They weaved it so wonderfully. Everything worked out perfectly. And if you're AEW and this is your most watched pay-per-view of all time, and it's going to be, I haven't seen the numbers yet, but it
has to be.
Is because previously it was Full Gear back in February. So this is gonna beat that just by dint of CM Punk. So them riding and knowing that and riding that wave of momentum and saying, "Hey, look what else we got! Look what else we got! Look what else we got!" and throwing everything out there, absolutely, I think is going to work in their favor.
Can I touch on something here real quick?
You may, as long as it is my penis.
That is a nightly ritual, and that will never go away.
Fair enough.
But the thing I want to talk about is...
you boys are adorable. I gotta pee.
Oh, okay, good, gross. It harkens back to Poot's point about the ratings. I have a sneaking suspicion that the more young talent, and I'm not talking about WCW style pilfering of old men who have had their time in the sun and bringing them in to be a big deal. I'm talking about the more young talent that WWE continues to mishandle and misuse that leave and go to AEW, the more of that WWE viewership I feel you're going to see tune into AEW. Because a lot of these young guys that especially have good NXT runs have a decent sized following. Oh my heavens, the race cars are abounding. Adam Cole has a huge following. Bryan Danielson, good Lord, the man could not have been more popular. The Yes Movement put this dude just over the sun. Ruby Soho, a huge following. If Wyndham Rotunda shows up there, another guy with a massive following. And Lord, I hope so, if Kevin Steen, I'm not going to use his slave name, if Kevin Steen shows up in AEW, there's another young guy with a massive following. AEW is going to continue to add to their viewership because they're bringing in not washed up old men like WCW did and made it seem like, hey, we got the big boys from WWE. AEW is bringing in young, talented guys who are creative and who are hungry and who have been starving to let their creative juices flow, but they're being stifled within WWE. They're young. They have a lot of time left. They can put on wonderful matches. They're amazing on the mic. They have great working relationships with other talent within AEW. WWE's viewership, I don't know if it's going to go down, but I have a firm belief that AEW's viewership is going to rise.
Absolutely.
People who typically would watch WWE, they'd watch Raw, SmackDown, and then that was it. They're going to tune in also to AEW Dynamite. And what's the other one?
Rampage.
And they're going to tune into Rampage because they're going to want to see, like, oh, these guys left WWE. Man, I wish I could see them again. Man, I miss those guys. I really enjoyed watching them in NXT. If they feel the same way we do, they think, oh, boy, they're so misused on the main roster. What a shame. They're going to tune into AEW now because they know these guys are here. And the more AEW can bring in WWE viewership, they not only bring them in to see the guys that they know, they're opening up those new doors for all of the young talent, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy. The list goes on. I'm not going to name them. All the young talent that AEW has that these WWE fans have never seen before. They're going to see this product and go, holy crap, these guys are doing something completely different. It's an exciting show from top to bottom. I feel like AEW's viewership is going to continue to rise, and WWE is going to start to feel that, maybe not in loss of their viewership, but in the fact that AEW's viewership is going to begin, I really believe it, is going to begin to surpass WWE's. Just because more people are going to tune in from the WWE side to see their guys.
So a couple things I want to touch on real quick with that. First of all, it was very, very prophetic by Jericho to make the bold prediction about AEW beating Raw's ratings. It's already done that in the demo, which I think is the most important part. I think as the demo goes, so will the ratings.
When did he predict that again?
It was after CM Punk debuted on Rampage, either the week after or the couple weeks after. So not too long ago.
Was that like an on-air thing, or was that like him on his podcast or something?
Maybe on his podcast, maybe being interviewed for somewhere else. I'm not sure.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to clarify.
All good. And yes, like he obviously Jericho knows what's coming down the pipeline. Like he knew about Danielson, he knew about Soho, he probably knew about Adam Cole. So it's easy whenever you're looking through the pane of glass to be able to see that. But so there's that. Mick Foley, who I think we mostly can agree has a pretty strong mind for the business, did a live stream on Monday or Tuesday on his Facebook page.
It was really good. It was
very I missed that. What did he say?
Basically saying that WWE, you have an issue, and that AEW is the absolute place for wrestling talent to be right now.
Wow.
Basically saying that WWE cannot convert on what NXT does, has not converted on what they have done, and he even called out Karrion Kross by name of saying, why don't you get this? Like, this should be super easy. What are you missing?
Now, is Mick Foley still employed by WWE?
I think Mick Foley's a free agent. Is he under contract? No, I think Mick Foley's a free agent. I think he can come and go as he wants. But he has a great
because if he wasn't, he'd be a free agent after that.
Well, he has a great relationship with Vince McMahon. So I think it's important to point out that, hey, I think that Vince needs more people like this in his life that are willing to say, hey, man, like, you guys are getting lapped here.
Yep.
We're starting to hear on your left.
And there wasn't no, Beef, I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say you're right. And it wasn't, and to be clear, Foley's thing wasn't said with any malice at all.
Nope.
Vince McMahon surrounds himself with corporate yes men, so not enough people are either ballsy enough or comfortable enough to say to Vince, like, hey, man, we have a problem.
Yep.
They need more. Beef's right. They need more of that. Vince needs more people going, attention, look here. Uh-oh.
And I love if you listen to Bryan Danielson had a promo after the pay-per-view, which is a great listen. And then there was a media scrum with Bryan Danielson, Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, and Tony Khan, like separately, but Tony Khan was on all of them. Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole are both fairly happy with where they came from. to the point where Danielson has said, hey, I loved where I worked. I loved it there. And I'm still here. That's a big deal. Whenever you can say, hey, I love a job, but something else is drawing me somewhere else, that is a huge win, obviously, for AEW. And that, harkens back to the Foley point of, like, AEW is the cool place to be now. AEW is suddenly WCW 97. They're suddenly the place where talent's going, okay, I feel you. Except for in AEW, while they have freedom, they also have like boundaries and reasonable expectations. Not everyone's going to show up and go to the top of the card immediately.
Yeah,
and that's fine. And Adam Cole's not looking to bite into anybody's pie. He's looking to bake another pie himself.
That should be that should be the biggest red flag for WWE. When you have people who are unhappy where they work and they leave, okay, that should be like A, how many people are leaving because they're unhappy, and B, why are these people unhappy and they're leaving? That should be something we should work on.
No, they don't care.
Shut up. When you have people who are happy and they still want to leave, that's a bigger red flag. Because you have a happy employee. People like coming to work. They like working for your company, and they still want to go somewhere else. That is the biggest red flag of all. You're clearly doing something wrong.
You hit Ransom, you hit the nail on the head. Like it's and you
were trying to interject and make me hit a baby. I know what you were doing.
Well, no, I feel like I don't have to poke or prod you to hit a baby, to be perfectly honest with you.
Fair point.
I feel like you're right, and the problem is now when we look at WWE, we're not looking at it and just going, this dreck. We're looking and going, poor Karrion Kross, poor Kevin Owens, poor Ricochet. Poor poor
Triple H.
Yeah, poor Triple H. But poor Scarlett. That's the other thing is that the thing that still confounds me in WWE is that you have a moneymaker. And you could say this about a lot of talent. Poor Samoa Joe. You have these guys that you look at and you go, you have a moneymaker in Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Yes, Scarlett is a valet, but she's an important aspect to the entire package that is the presentation of, you know what? I'm going to stop saying Karrion, of Killer Kross. She is so important to that packaging. And to take it away and then put a red painted bucket or something that harkens back to Farouk Hassan, if you will.
Oh.
And to have that happen and have no one pop for him, he is the sacrificial lamb for Vince McMahon to prove a point and go, look, no one's popping for this guy. Well, it's because you changed literally everything about him. Of course, it's not that they're not popping, they're sitting and going, oh, Kross, what have they done to you?
What?
It's a lamentation.
To be fair, I think it bears repeating that Raw's rating is about 500,000 or so more than NXT's. So it's not completely unfathomable that some people looked at him and said, I don't know who this is. And as opposed to what they did with Kevin Owens, bring him up with the NXT title and have him stand powerful over Cena, on Karrion Kross's first night, they brought him up with the NXT title and have him lose to Jeff Hardy.
Ugh.
Jeff Hardy, by the way, who is now in scrums for the 24/7 title. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a difference of how these guys were presented. And honestly, I think we're kind of in the minority with Karrion Kross. A lot of people really weren't digging what he was doing in NXT. and felt like it was all filler and no fluff. I loved everything I saw from Karrion Kross in NXT. I loved the gimmick.
Absolutely.
I loved Scarlet with him. I loved how they treated him. I loved how he was protected. Even his matches were all fairly good for what they were. So I don't get the groundswell of hate. But a lot of people are now just saying, oh, well, there's Karrion Kross for you. Which I don't think is a fair assessment of the man or his talents. No. At the end of the day, I just feel like he's just Putin made a wonderful point, and I think this is a great quote, a great soundbite, if you will. The sacrificial lamb, the final straw on the camel's back for Vince to go, nope, it's broken. We're gonna fix it for you. Don't worry, Paul.
And that's the problem, that it had the timing fell where it was Karrion Kross. I really but my point is, I hope that the words of Mick Foley resonate with Vince, and the Grinch's small dick will grow 3 sizes that day. Like, nope. I hope that the grapefruits grow back. Like and he goes, all right, either he has some kind of come to Jesus moment, and he goes, wow, I'm a senile, some senile old man who, and he goes, man, I'm really losing my touch. I don't know what's going on. I need to back off. Or he goes, all right, guys, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's get back to what we had. And getting back to what we had, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you one half of the Chooserweight champions, Mr. Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom.
And
now, here's the thing, though. Hold on, man.
Well, then.
I have this.
Well,
point.
We're in the middle of a point. We want to make it. We don't want to lose it.
I'll say this. The last time that everybody was so down on WWE and a competitor was so fiercely coming at them, we got the Attitude Era. I'm not at all saying that we're going to get a replication of that, or that anything near that is going to be coming. I'm just going to throw that out there.
So I don't think that's going to happen. And my rationale for that is this. WWE was not in a great place financially at that point. They were consistently getting beaten in the ratings. They didn't have money trouble, but they were at the point where they said to Bret Hart, arguably their biggest star at the time, hey man, we can't pay you. If you want to go to WCW, we'll offer you something so that they'll give you something more and you can go there. Their biggest star, they couldn't keep. Now, WWE is going through a lot of cost-cutting measures now. They're releasing a lot of people. One might say, like, well, maybe they're not in the best financial place now. But like Beef has said many times, they made a lot of money even during COVID. They made a lot of money. So whatever's going on with WWE right now, I feel like it's a different company than it was back in the day with WCW. And I think Vince is even more stubborn and bullheaded now than he was then. You're not going to get an 80-year-old billionaire who has lived his company to the point where that's his universe. He calls it the WWE universe. That world is more realistic to him than the world that we live in. He's not going to change at this point. If Vince was maybe in his 40s or 50s, okay, there's time. He still has a length to go. He still has something to prove. I think with everything that his company has done, everything he's done with his company, the way he sees it is, we're still the top. We're still where everybody wants to be. Every wrestler out there still wants their WrestleMania moment. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to change. We just need the people that want to be here, and we'll give them their WrestleMania moment. If you want to go somewhere else, go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead and go somewhere else. I don't think you're going to get change out of WWE at this point, not from Vince McMahon.
Tom, what's your assessment?
Well, it's kind of interesting that I came in right at that point because my story that I was going to regale you guys with today kind of ties into that and all that line of thinking. So let me start off with my personal story today. I was making a delivery, and I'm delivering these 2 different giant pieces of carpet to somebody's house. One was like a 6-foot piece. One was like a 12-foot, which thankfully, was like folded up in the back of my truck. Regardless, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not, the biggest guy in the world. I'm all of 5'6". So naturally, if you're in my position, or even if you're not, whatever, if you had a giant 12-foot piece of carpet that was wrapped in plastic and you parked at the bottom of somebody's driveway and you were going to get it to their driveway, to their garage, how would you do that?
Roll it.
I would wait
Drag
from
it.
wait.
Thank you.
I was going to say I would put it up on my shoulder.
Okay, well, it's like a giant 12-foot floppy piece, so like there's no real putting it on my. So there's no real putting it on my shoulder. But like Ransom said, drag it. So that's what I proceeded to do. This old man comes out to his garage. I had already taken the 6-foot piece up and I put it in the doorway of his open garage. Now, in his driveway, there's a Toyota Corolla, an Audi, and in the garage is a Porsche. So let's just throw that out there to kind of give you an idea of who this person is. I'm dragging this giant piece of carpet up, and he says to me, "You gonna drag it up?" And I was like, "Well, yeah. How else am I gonna get it up here? Do you see the size of this thing?" He goes, "What if it gets damaged?" I literally stopped in my tracks. I kid you not. And I was walking up to, I was dragging it with my back towards the garage. I stopped, still holding the carpet. I half turned the upper half of my body, and I go to him, "Are you serious?" And he said, "Yeah. What if it gets damaged?" I said, "It's carpet. I'm sure it'll be fine." He's like, "Well, what if it gets damaged?" I said, "Then you call for a pickup and have it get returned or whatever." I was like, come on, dude. I was like, common sense. Do you see the size of this thing? Do you see me? How else are you going to get it up here?
Did that man cooperate with Tom? Did he not? We'll find out on the next episode of the P3 podcast. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Fast burrito time. Tag!
So much for sponsorship.